Welcome to my project ideas. This is an ongoing series on SAP UI5 projects. And in this particular video, we'll learn how to integrate blockchain in SAP UI5. So when we say blockchain, it means it can be any of the platform that you want to prefer. You can use SAP multi-chain, you can use SAP Hyperledger or whatever you want. So certainly you need to have knowledge of blockchain. So what is blockchain and what is the use case you are going to work upon? So in this video, we'll just showcase the basic CRUD operations using blockchain. Then you need to have IDE access and BTP access, right? And both should be connected to each other. So you can use Web ID or you can use Business Application Studio, and those particular IDE should be connected to BTP platform. And also you need to have blockchain access over BTP. So you need to have the multi-chain access or some other platform access, and you have to create your own keys via them. So these are paid services, so you need to buy them, then only you can start integrating them. And the last thing that you need to have a knowledge of UI5 in form of MT or CAPM. So when I say MTA, it's a multi-target application, or CAPM, that is Cloud Application Programming Module, right? And both uses backend as Node.js. In case you don't want to use them, you can still use backend as a app. And in the app, you have to integrate, you have to perform all the integration. And then you can call your OData APIs in UI5. So you can choose whatever way you want. But in this video, we'll just showcase using MTA. So in the end, all the backend development is remains the same. The CRUD operation remains the same. The syntax changes, right? So the steps to integrate blockchain. So the very first thing is that you need to create a MT application, right? And then you need to get tokens and keys from BTP for your respective platform that you want to integrate. And then you need to write some code to integrate blockchain over MTA. So we'll jump to the browser. So since we don't have as of now, the multi-chain access, but while we were writing the article, we had everything. So we'll use the article as a reference to showcase how exactly you can achieve those tokens. So this particular links will be shared within the description of the video. So here you can go and learn how to create multi-chain chat setup on cloud platform or BTP, quorum setup, Hyperledger setup. So all these platforms are different blockchain platforms, right? And if I take an example of multi-chain, so what exactly you need to do is you need to visit BTP platform and you need to create your own account. And when you create your own account, you can go to the login portal, open up your particular space. It can be a trial space or paid space, whatever it you want to be. And within the space, you have something called service marketplace, right? And there you need to scroll down until you find multi-chain or Hyperledger, whatever you want. In case it is not there, then you need to separately visit multi-chain platform or SAP and buy your tokens from there. So once you visit this platform and you do the payment, then you will receive the tokens. So the second part is creating multi-chain like a project in WebID, right? So if I jump to the next part, so I will showcase how exactly you create a MTA project in WebID. But once you are done with the creation of the project, so a folder structure is created where one of the folder is for backend, that is the Node.js folder, and the other folder is for the front end, that is app folder, or if you see this web app folder, right? So in this way, the structure is created. You have empty archive folder, then you have multi-chain logon folder. So you have different folder for the different operations. And within the folder of backend, you will see something called package.json file. Package.json file is the file where you maintain all the packages name that you want to use in your Node.js development, right? So here you define some of the dependencies. I will share the link in the description of the video. So you will see those dependencies here. And once you use them here, then only you can actually use them in the coding section. So yeah, so this is the dependency section. And then you can see that the name of the file where you are going to write a code will be server.js file, right? So the next file that we create is config.json file. This is a manual created file. And here we have maintained these three things. That is token URL that you will get from multi-chain platform, right? The block service URL, again, you will get this URL from the same platform, and your unique API key. So once get those API keys and the URLs, you maintain them in a file, and then you call this file wherever you want. So we have only one file where we write the blockchain code, and the file is called server.js file. So in the initial part, whatever packages we have defined in package.json, we are calling them here. Then we have written some few lines of code. This is written because we are going to run our Node.js in local environment. And when you try to run something in local environment and try to access in web ID, it starts giving CORSS error, right? Cross origin errors. To avoid that, we have written some of the hard coded access control allow origin codes. So we are relying everything that is possible. Then we have like getting the whatever operation that we are going to do. For that, we need to get the URL. So for that, we have written a few line of code here. So config data is the file from where we are getting the URL. So we get the URL, and for every operation for blockchain or any other AJAX call, you do a read call to gather tokens, and based on that token, you do the rest of the calls. The same thing that we are doing here only. So with the help of URL, we are giving something called grant type as client credentials, and whatever credential that we have maintained, we are sending here. So if I go back here, you see authorization and the URL, both are being used here, the URL and the authorization. And this header option will give back me the token value. That token value I'll be using for other operations. So in the CRUD operation, the first thing that we do is read call. And in blockchain language, we say get proof history. So what are proofs you have in the blockchain? You get it back from the blockchain. So here we are just doing a simple get call. Again, we have a URL. We are appending logon in the end. And then we are passing whatever token we have generated from the earlier call, the header call. We are passing that here. And the request service is made. And in the console, we can receive the body, and the body will contain all the history. So that's the only call that we do, the simple read call. And then we have something called update proof history. So this will be again a first a get call, right, to get the latest history. And on top of that, we'll do another call. So we are doing here the patch call, and we can transfer a body, the if you want to create something, you have to always push it. So it's not like a simple create call. Either you do the get call and then you do up update call, put call. So in that way, whatever is there, you append your particular piece of code in the blockchain. So if you know the concept of blockchain, you keep appending your piece of code or your piece of block in the existing blockchain. The same thing we are doing here. So we are passing our body, and then if you read the other code, so again send proof history as response. So this is something not required. We'll just scroll down. Yeah, so these are the default codes of the UAA access or some other HANA access that is not required for our use case. So yeah, that's it. That's the only thing that we are doing here. A simple update call and a simple history call. So once you have written all the code in service.js file, what we do, we just try to run the application. So once you run this application, you click on run script start, your entire application of block this Node.js will run in the form of API. So you will get a link on runtime. So now I'll go to the UI part. So whatever link is generated that I have maintained here. So this is a local runtime link generated, and like this for you also to be generated. And this I have maintained within a file called local model, right? Model.js file is there in UI5. So there I have maintained a protocol where HTTP is the protocol and the URI. So all together I will get a full URL, right? And this is a global model we are setting. So the same will use to get back the URL. And in the UI, if you see, we have something called enter username, password, and other fields. And the user ID, password, login, timestamp, multi-chain timestamp. So all these fields we are also passing in the backend while doing the update call, and also we are doing the read call, right? The get history call. So those things we are reading here and binding in the table. So if I show the UI, the user ID, password, and the timestamps. And if I go to the backend code, you will see the same thing: username, password, and a timestamp. Three things we are passing in the backend also. Timestamp remains the same. The only thing is that we just convert it in a better way. So the timestamp we are saving once only, and the ID and password we are sending from the UI. So we enter the ID, we enter the password. When we click create account, what it does pushes the credentials in the backend, and the backend pushes it into the multi-chain. This is the flow of the blockchain that we are using. We are using blockchain to save our ID and password. So the same thing we are fetching it back during the history call. It's showing in the form of a table. So in this way, we are doing read operation and we are doing the update operation. So the read calls and all you understood, right? So this is within the view, we have written simple form and a table. And whenever we click on history, so we are doing just a refresh call. So we call the backend. So this get proof history will be called in the Node.js, and the Node.js will be sending me back the entire history, right? And since the URL is custom made, so we cannot do OData call. So we are doing our calls via Ajax like this. So username, password, timestamp, something like this. Send being sent in the backend. And also on login, the same thing is called, but this time we are calling the update objects history. So only two calls are made, right? One is the read calls that we did here, get proof history, and one is the update call. So if you have understood the flow, we have a UI which calls Node.js, which calls blockchain, and that's the entire flow. And for that, we have created tokens earlier. So I will add all these links in the description of the video. So this is the end-to-end blockchain based, calls that you can do in UI5. And if I try to create a simple empty application just for your basic knowledge how to do, so you go in the web ID and create a project from template, and you choose the environment as Cloud Foundry and choose your application as a multi-target application and click on next. And I will call it multi-chain. Fine. And I need the web app, right? HTML5 application repository, we need it. So we'll just copy multi-chain, paste here, paste, and click on next and finish. So in this way, we have created a multi-target application in WebID. In Business Application Studio, you will also get templates there to create some similar application. And inside that, we have a router, we have deployer, but we don't have Node.js, we don't have the UI part, right? For that, you click on here, right click, and click new, and click Node.js module, and we can call it Node. That's it. Whatever you want, you can call it. And XSJS is not required, so we can click on finish. Fine. So inside that you have package JSON, right, where you can maintain your dependencies, and then we have server.js file where you can write your code. Make sense? So this is the way you write code for Node.js. And in case you want to create your own file, you just right click here and call it config.js, js, right, or the JSON. It's a JSON file, and you just maintain your URLs here like this. that you can always call this file and fetch your URLs and tokens. So once you are done with the Node.js, you right click here, and you can build it from here, and you can run it from here, run as Node.js application. So this will create a URL, and now that URL has to be used somewhere in the web app, and you see no web app is here. So you again right click here, new, and you will see HTML5 module. And for HTML5, we can simply use a simple UI5 application like this, and we can call it app, finish. And once you have finished, you can just go back and copy paste the codes so that the structure is ready. So I'll just copy it from here and go to web app like this, and try to paste here, change the name of the view like this. The rest we can delete from here. Try to run this application as index file. Fine. So since we are actually running this entire application in Cloud Foundry, and the basics of this application is like you create this folder for Cloud Foundry. You are not using Neo, and this web ID is as of now connected to Neo environment, not a Cloud Foundry environment. That's why we will not be able to run. But ultimately, the concept remains the same. You can just click on run, and run it as index.html file. And in case you are getting error, you can always click here and click on Cloud Foundry and choose your API points. So whatever API is there, you need to like enter your Cloud Foundry details. Since I do not have Cloud Foundry as of now, so I'll not be able to show you. But like this, you enter a credential for Cloud Foundry and click save, and then you will be able to run both the web app as well as the Node.js file. So I believe this video was helpful. Try it out and let me know the errors you are getting in the comment section, and we'll solve it out for you. So yeah, thank you very much.